guess.
That's probably true as well, because injuries are a part of the sport. And also the portal. There's still some potential moves to be made here. But speaking of the portal, Auburn had 2 big ads, and one of them came out of nowhere. We were wondering if it was going to be Casey Thompson, who entered the portal. It looks like he lost the spring quarterback battle against Jeff Sims, formerly of Georgia Tech, at Nebraska. So it looks like Sims is going to be QB1 in Lincoln. But then it wasn't Casey Thompson. You thought Hugh Freeze, Casey Thompson made more sense, more mobile in the pocket, more experience, has at least shown flashes of late of being a good, solid at worst college quarterback, Power 5 quarterback. Payton Thorne was just bad last year at Michigan State, and there were questions about, like, hey, what kind of fit is he? Because Hugh Freeze we haven't seen quarterbacks like Payton Thorne as much during the Hugh Freeze college coaching era. So it is interesting to see that Payton Thorne was ultimately the guy that Auburn went with out of the portal. It's also interesting that Robbie Ashford, who was a highly touted Hoover kid, coming in there, 4-star quarterback, who played a lot last year for the Tigers, they didn't feel sold, clearly, on what they had with just Ashford and company. They have a big-time freshman whose name escapes me right now, who probably is the guy next year, but his name I cannot remember off the top of my head. But Matt Green, they bring him in, and they bring in a big Ohio State guy who got kind of lost in the shuffle because Ohio State has dudes everywhere. It's just really hard to get on the field as a wideout at Ohio State, Caleb Burton. So I think it's interesting. I think Auburn and what Hugh Freeze has done in the portal as a whole has been pretty impressive this offseason. He's obviously recruiting immediately at a top 10, top 15 level at Auburn, righting a lot of wrongs from the Brian Harsin era, and clearly a better fit for the region and what's expected at Auburn. But what do you make of all of that, and Payton Thorne ultimately being an Auburn Tiger and potentially a day one starter this fall?
Well, I would definitely say that I wouldn't be sold on Robbie Ashford as like he was a fairly highly ranked recruit, but like we've seen plenty of top 200 4-star type commit. Like you have no idea what you're gonna get in that kind of range. So he's obviously got talent. He's a great athlete, but I mean, 7 touchdowns? I think 7 picks last year. Like he was fine. He's obviously a dynamic athlete, but I think you definitely needed to bring in someone. And I mean, at this point, I don't know what Auburn's options are. Like you said, I don't know if they had it was their choice of Casey Thompson or Payton Thorne type of thing, and they went Payton Thorne, or it's just Casey Thompson wanted to go somewhere. I mean, he's still not committed anywhere, right?
No.
So, I mean, who knows? So Payton Thorne, he was pretty good in 2021. Like, not great. Obviously, that running game was the reason Kenneth Walker, why they were so good that year. But he was a good. I would say he was a good player that year. Like, not great, but he was good. So it's possible. And with Hugh Freeze, like, he is one of the elite offensive minds, I would say, in the SEC right now. Like, I wouldn't put it past, him getting the best out of Payton Thorne. So I think this is, if nothing else, it's a healthy competition, because Ashford is definitely not the kind of guy that would just be like, okay, he's sold QB1. Like, we need some options here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if this is going to be a part of it, is like this spring, like for quarterbacks who obviously see the writing on the wall in their current spot, and Casey Thompson did. Payton Thorne's a little bit different because he and Keon Coleman both entered the portal in just a really hilarious way, not because they both were on the same page, but they were both trying to get away from each other, potentially. So that was a really weird situation that happened just a few weeks ago in East Lansing. Like, it's just weird that Payton Thorne is now an Auburn Tiger, Matt Green. Like, that was not something we had in our just this ever-changing quarterback landscape in college football. But it's just going to be weird that he might just be the day one starter at Auburn, of all places. And I have no idea what to think of him, because, like, Robbie Ashford, like you said, struggled last year. He got hit a lot, obviously not a lot of talent. The scheme sucked, and Auburn's offense was pretty brutal to watch week in, week out. And Hugh Freeze, very QB-friendly offense. What could Hugh do with him? You just feel bad, 'cause it's like, what if he had started with Hugh Freeze at Auburn? What that kind of looks like for him and his development. But I am very curious to see how that ultimately unfolds. And I mean, Florida still not involved in any of these guys pop in the portal. They're I guess they're really just going with Graham Mertz and Jack Miller. It seems like they're dead set on it.
It's a bold strategy for sure. And Keon Coleman, it looks like he's going to be visiting Ole Miss here tomorrow, or maybe that was today.
Well, they have an opening.
So we could see a little Payton Thorne versus Keon Coleman and some SEC West action. That'd be a nice little storyline. But I mean, Payton Thorne is definitely an upgrade over Robbie Ashford. I mean, Robbie Ashford might have higher potential, upside or whatever. He's a better athlete, but Payton Thorne's been a good, serviceable college football starting quarterback in the Power 5. I would, maybe not good, but he's been serviceable. This isn't Grayson Lambert coming in here. It's like, oh, the guy that was bad at Virginia is going to come into Georgia and be good? No, he's not. So he won a lot of games, but, it's skewed. He had the hell of a game versus South Carolina, though. It still holds NCAA.